Hang on. Hang on.
We the people unite.
I forgot to change the intro. Hi, everybody. This is actually Voices from the Edge. Happy Friday. We are having tech issues today, or at least I am. My internet is down. I am using my phone as a hotspot. August is coming to the rescue to run our videos, and so we'll see what happens. How's everybody? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's been a dream.
It's been a nightmare.
LTD.
So today's theme is a question. How much damage has been done? And
So
I'm talking
much.
about everything, but let's just watch this video.
You're under a lot of pressure with 27 countries. And if you're under pressure, two things can happen. If you have outside pressure, you can come together or you can explode in any possible direction. And I think Europe is at a crossroads where it has to decide. Until now, we tried to appease the new president in the White House. We were very lenient also with the tariffs. We were lenient, hoping to get his support for the Ukraine war. We are in a very bad position at the moment. We're dependent on the United States, so we chose to be lenient. But now so many red lines are being crossed that you have the choice between your self-respect. Being a happy vassal is one thing, being a miserable slave is something else. If you back down now, you're going to lose your dignity. And that's probably the most precious thing you can have in a democracy. It's your dignity. So we should unite. Our king will accompany me at the meeting, but it will have a different character than we had planned. It will probably be the message that we have to send. You're crossing red lines here. We either stand together or we will stand divided. And if we are divided, there is the end of an era of 80 years of Atlantism is really drawing to a close. And, you know, as Gramsci said, if the old is dying and the new is not yet born, you live in a time of monsters. Yeah. And it's up to him to decide if he wants to be a monster, yes or no.
Do you share that view that we can take it for granted that the US is an ally of Europe?
We're under a lot of pressure. We're 27 countries. And if you're under pressure, two things can happen. If you have outside pressure, you can come together or you can explode in any possible direction.
Now, August, you can pull it down. So,
we had
back to the question. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that a profound statement?
Yes.
Right
I was really deep down saying, yay, we have some help. Because this is not the life we want to live either. And hopefully they're getting some of our, footage and seeing that we know we need help.
Absolutely. And he says so many lines have been crossed, right? Red lines. Mm-hmm. And he's talking internationally, but holy shit, how many red lines have been crossed in our own country?
Well, he needs medical attention. I really believe that because he somebody said, he doesn't know Greenland from Iceland. He starts dancing when he wants to instead of talking about real policy and real changes. We need help right now.
You know what though? He's always been like that, even though it's worse now. And I agree. I think he has some illness, but he's treated things like this since the beginning of time in his own life.
And honestly, guys, he's such a small part of this problem. We're in a police state. We're not a free nation right now. We really aren't. We're not approaching it. We've stepped over into it. We have jumped off the cliff. And he's such a small part of this problem. I feel like it is going to probably take generations before our European allies and other people trust us, because we, the American people, voted this man in twice. It's not a matter of trusting him or not trusting him. even if we vote in someone completely reasonable in 2028, if we still have free elections, they cannot trust the American populace not to inflict this kind of thing on the world again.
So you think they have PTSD, post-traumatic stress, like we have?
It's more about like, if we have to change our system so that we don't allow this to happen again, because otherwise every 4 years they don't know who the hell we're going to vote in, because we have a bunch of fucking idiots who have the right to vote.
Yes.
Well, I
Yes.
believe the election was stolen, though. I don't really believe that.
Either way,
And that's what I feel is they can
Yeah.
corrupt the system, and that's what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and either
was-
way, yeah, go ahead, Roseanne.
It was stolen. He has admitted that in not so many words, but he has admitted it.
Him and Elon
That
Musk
that
both admitted
it was rigged.
Yeah. And until, we have a lot of the billionaires supporting him, until that stops, it won't change, because they'll support someone else just as bad, potentially. But I've been reading responses from people online. We left, evidently he pulled us out of the World Health Organization, and some people are still cheering him on, saying, okay, great, now we need to leave the UN completely. And I'm responding, I'm like, what are you talking about? We are not safe isolated. Why do people not understand that base foundational premise of how this world works right now? We all rely on each other.
Well, I think he's trying to hand us over to Russia, and he doesn't expect for us to live alone. I think he wants us to partner with Russia, China, North Korea, and Orban, who taught him all of this. They want to have only about 8 leaders to run the whole world.
Well,
and Trump knows he has nothing to lose, because he has 34 felonies, and he knows once he's out of office that he has to go to prison if he's still living. He in a prison anyway in his mind. His mind is a prison.
Good point.
Well, and on this topic, so this is what we're hearing from our allies, the leaders. We heard from Carney. I'm not going to play the clip, but we talked about his speech and where they stand in Canada, and the fact that Trump posted that, horrific, whatever it is you call it over at Truth, post that, well, we're, pulling your invitation to this peace board, which we all know that's bullshit. So it's another money grift of some sort.
I can't type.
So how much from a world perspective, I mean, the man's done a lot of damage. A lot of damage. And you're right, I don't know if we'll be able to recover from this.
Well, they're showing us with all the violence that they can create or do, or, killing people and not be held accountable. I just think we're going to have to overtake all of them. I mean, it's more of us than it is of them. I still feel the same way about that. We can't just sit back and take it.
Well, the good news is Europe didn't, right? So some people are saying, oh, so his MAGA supporters, I hear this too. Oh, Trump played them like a fiddle. Trump went in there and did this and that, and he got exactly what he wanted. I beg to differ on that. I think Europe stood up to him and said, no, not on our watch.
That is what they said.
So he had to back off the whole Greenland thing. That's my take. What do you guys think?
Well, before we go into it, let's just ask everyone to like and subscribe. And also, we want to welcome our roving reporter, Jazzy, and also our angry Army vet, D. Thanks, ladies, for joining.
Absolutely. We love you.
Yep.
To the previous point about it taking a long time or whether or not they'll ever be able to trust us, we do have at least one example with Germany. And after
Oh yeah.
it wasn't overnight that they were able to rebound their reputation. But
Mhm.
look at the 1940s and you look at today, and I think we have a lot of faith in Germany to do the right thing. Like they have done the things that they need to do to show that they are trying to prevent another incident like that. They they banned the Nazi flag. You can't fly the Nazi flag in Germany, unlike the United States, where you can fly the Confederate flag all you want to, and the Nazi flag. So if we can show, like, again, if we change our system, if we show that we are actually doing things to prevent this from happening again, then yes, over several generations, we can regain that trust and we can rebound, but it is going to take a long time and a lot of changed behavior.
Yes, I agree with you, Keisha, on that. Germany is a great redemption story, and we could do that, but it is going to take leaders who know what the fight is and will bring it. We cannot have these capitulating leaders like we have now. They're feckless. I'm so disappointed in our leadership right now.
I can share being in Germany some time ago. They educate their young people. They let them know what happened in their country. They're not blaming those young people, but they're saying, you cannot let this happen again. And you need to take this class, which would be our equivalent of a freshman in high school. And I was there when those kids were sitting there at Dachau, a concentration camp, and were being educated. And every 14-year-old in that country need to take these classes and go see a concentration camp. Here we're spouting actually Nazism in our own country, thinking it's okay. Excuse me, go to Dachau. Go to any place, any concentration camp in Europe. Why on earth would you want to live that way or have that or have those? It's horrendous. And I think education is key.
Did you guys see the video of Nick Fuentes at a club in Miami? He and his crew were dancing to a song by Kanye West called Heil Hitler. And it was a club. And people were singing and dancing along to this song, and I was so disgusted.
Wow, that is
because how people they just treated it so cavalierly, like this is just nothing.
Go ahead, Keish. I'm sorry.
No, I was so disgusted at the lack of understanding and education that would allow people to shake their ass to a song that is just so disgusting and vile. We have an uphill battle.
Yeah. That's two things that we need to make sure we have in the curriculum. You need to know about Black history, and you also need to know about Nazism. I think those two things from the Holocaust needs to be there. And also we need to know about Black history. They want to wipe it out, but guess what? We're not going to repeat ourselves. We're not trying to go back there. Educate, educate, educate.
Well, and so not only Black history, white history. They don't want them to know, excuse me, they don't even want them to know that they were responsible for slavery. They don't want that information out, and they don't want brown and Black people in any high position or anything. So until they can come to terms with we are created equal. We're all created equal. Don't matter who we are, we're equal,
I think all of us has had enough of his story. It's time to tell our story. So
I agree.
That's where I'm just standing right now.
The Nick Fuentes thing, makes me wonder, and it's scary either side. Is it ignorance on their part, their lack of knowing, or is it their lack of caring? That's the scary part.
Yeah. It's lack of caring because they know exactly what they're doing. And here's the thing, like Keisha said, we need to overhaul our entire system. And Maureen said, education is the key, and accountability. No more monuments to traitors. The Confederates were traitors to this nation. They killed American soldiers, and we allowed them to erect monuments to themselves and to whitewash history. There needs to be accountability in the United States before we move on.
Oh,
when you can come from South Africa and get all of the American contracts instead of giving them to different Americans, and then become the wealthiest man in the world. And then he turned against us, even though he got all his money from us. And that's what need to be fixed too.
Well, the last two comments, let's go back to the last two comments, because I think they were, it was Jazzy and Democracy. It's not they don't get it. They don't want to get it.
That's right.
They won't get it. They won't get it because I get what you're going there. What was the next one from Jazzy? It's not ignorance. They do it on purpose because it is the money.
That's right.
Everything that we talk about with the lies, we soften it by saying disinformation, but it's outright blatant lies. And if people didn't make much freaking money off of it, we wouldn't have this issue. Wouldn't be as big as it is.
Again, you come with an immigrant comes over to this country and he talks about immigrants and becomes the wealthiest man in the world. I'm sorry, Maureen.
Yeah.
No, don't apologize. I was just did you guys hear about Maryland, Baltimore? They took down all the memories of the slavery.
Yeah.
All the plaques. All gone.
Yeah, that's why I said they don't want them to know about. They owe us reparations until they pay us our reparations that we're owed. They took all of our money, and that's why we're in the state we're in today. And he wants to keep us that way.
Yeah,
agreed. We have a participation trophy mentality in this country, and we need to teach people the truth. No matter how hard it is, they need to be able to face the truth. When I was young, I was taught how to lose. There was no such thing as a participation trophy. That's our problem.
Yeah, you have to learn that lesson. You have to. And you have to be able to be okay with it, and that is the problem. So let's go ahead and move on, because we talked about Greenland and the fact that Trump had to backpedal. He had to, because Europe said, no effing way. This is not going to happen. So, Maureen, you want to talk a little bit, because nobody's talking about this topic, and I'm glad Maureen brought it up. So let's turn it over.
Well, I'm going to focus on Greenland and this lady who is in their government. She's telling him, no way, we do not want the United States in our country. They are the indigenous people. They are the major population in this country. And they get along with Denmark the way that they feel they need to be treated. But they've gone through a lot of pain, and they are very angry. So I'm going to let her tell their story.
We do not want to be rich like the Americans are. See how greedy they are. They're even trying to shoot their friends or invade their friends just for greed. And we know that there's minerals and oils possibly in our underground, and that's worth so much more even than that. Everyone here knows about the Inuit in Alaska and all of the native tribes, Indians, American Indians who are there. Their land was taken from them, and they haven't been treated that well in America. And we know that Trump is very much surrounding himself, at least with the white power people, and we are not white, as you can see. We are of color,
Tilly Martinussen co-founded Greenland's Cooperation Party. U.S. President Trump says he wants to acquire Greenland, while others say he wants to invade it. He says he wants Greenland's natural resources and its strategic location in the Arctic. Greenland has rare earth minerals, including lithium, which is used in electric vehicles and batteries. They also have untapped oil and gas reserves. In 2021, the territory banned all oil and gas exploration due to environmental concerns.
But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
Greenland isn't backing down.
We're going to be here hundreds of years after Donald Trump. Even if he invaded us, I think we would just wait him out like bad weather.
I love it. Like bad weather.
Bad weather. Wasn't that lady great? Yeah. I guess they do have an interesting history. They've been there forever, and they're like our Native Americans, and they are feeling that that's how they can be harmed. That Trump will find a way for them to disappear, and they have this beautiful history, and that's their country. And the next video that we'll show will give you an idea of that history and what they're all about, the Indigenous people, the Inuits in Greenland.
On an uninhabited island deep inside a Greenlandic fjord, a young Inuit woman is doing what her people have done for thousands of years and hunting for that night's family meal. For generation after generation, little changed. Then, with growing modernization, Greenland's former colonial power, Denmark, tried to stop the Inuit from having families.
It's been called genocide. I think that's what it aims at.
Children were given contraceptives without being told what was happening to them. The effect of all this on the most isolated parts of this vast country has been dramatic. You get remote places such as this, 2 hours by boat from the nearest town with no road in or out, and where the population has shrunk by a third in 30 years. And you have to wonder what Inuit in settlements such as this will have to do to maintain a way of life that has lasted for centuries. Welcome to Beyond Borders.
We could probably skip past that. Yeah, this is a long video. We're just going to play a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
The point I'm making here, and which you have all seen with this, is this is their country, the Inuits. Let's stop this. Let's stop going into countries and destroying their heritage. We've done that so much in our own country, and other countries have also. But what Trump is doing, it makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Leave these people alone. We don't need.
I agree. Something stood out when Trump said that. We are going to force ourselves on them, is basically what he said. And this is what Trump does. He forces himself on people, on women. So this is exactly what this man does. This is narcissistic. actions. So I'm sorry, Maureen. I just wanted to point that out because it's disgusting.
This is open discussion here.
And he forces himself on children too.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he forced himself on Venezuela, and if you think you can do that, then someone can come to America and get your dumb ass.
Which we wish for. We are clamoring for that. Please.
Yes.
Come get
Bring
him.
it. Bring it on.
Yeah, I
Yep.
wish they hurry
Bring
up.
it on.
You can come get them.
Yep.
What I wanted to say is watching that Inuit woman talk about her miscarriages is heartbreaking. And it's not the first, like Marley said, that colonizers always use the same playbook, because this was done in Canada to the Indigenous people there. This was done here to the Indigenous people. It was done to enslaved people and Black Americans. And I'm sure it's been done in other places around the world where people have tried to subjugate people they thought were beneath them.
Yes.
And we are, this is 2026. We should not be trying to take other people's land. Like, what the fuck?
I know.
What is happening?
Yeah. Take care of your own land, right? And your own people.
It's these old 70-something men who live in this alternate universe. Putin, right? He's one of those men who's like, well, I'm going to go in and take Ukraine back because, you know, it's part of the USSR. And I don't know. It's like these old men are clinging to whatever relevance they think they need to have in their lives, is that emptiness that they have. But it's Netanyahu is another one. Orban is another one. I mean, there's some parallels here.
Hey, this is our peace committee. Don't talk about them that way.
Yeah, the new axis of evil is what it is. And unfortunately, we seem to be the head of the snake at this point.
Who would have ever?
Oh no, they can't get enough.
Well, what's so funny is they don't want to go to college and educate themselves, but they want to say the black, and I hate when he says the blacks, or he calls the Mexicans. I'm like, man, somebody need to hit you in the head. They go to college, they educate themselves. I mean, I've seen Hispanic Americans and all the nationalities, even we work so hard to get where we are. And then for you to just talk down to us like we're nobody.
Meanwhile, he has to have words defined for him because he can't pronounce them. He doesn't understand what they mean. It's called acetaminophen. Not that hard.
Exactly.
Because I thought the older white men would die off, and I said, and maybe some of this racism would leave the country, but they taught it to their children.
Yeah, it's generational. They teach it.
Yes. And we have to teach the game. So we have to continue to teach the game to our children.
Absolutely. So Maureen, anything else on that?
No, I think I think that said it all of what's happening to poor Greenland.
Yeah.
I want to read more about their history. It's very interesting.
Can I just add one more thing? There was a social media trend last week where people from Greenland were Indigenous people from Greenland were sharing they were dressed in their regalia. And it's really beautiful. So I recommend looking it up and just seeing all of it's beautiful. Yeah. It's a beautiful culture, and I've enjoyed learning about them.
But thank you, Maureen, for bringing that up because we have not talked about this at all. It's nowhere in the media.
If I may share, I've gone to Maui many times. It's like the Polynesian people. I respect them so much, but they've been hurt so much by Christianity. And we could learn a lot from all those people. There's something real in their hearts.
And they wonder why people stop going to church. Because what they preach is, they don't even believe it. It's just how to get money. I know how you can make some money. You can go to church and do 6-7 offerings.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, that's all. That's a whole nother topic.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a whole show. That's a whole show.
Yeah.
That would actually be a good show.
It
That,
would.
that would be a good show. So thank you, Maureen. That yeah, we need to continue that. So let's move on to Keisha.
Yes, I wanted to talk about ICE because
why not?
It's there. Okay.
So we're gonna play a couple clips from the Joy Reid show. The Democrats are being advised of a certain strategy towards ICE, so she's gonna explain what that is.
You should also be following, and that's not good, right? So we're seeing the same kind of tactics used in Israel against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza, then being repatriated here. Note that many U.S.
I nearly collapsed from a mold exposure incident in my own basement. My medical grade HEPA purifier was
police departments train with the IDF and get training. So we're having a cross-pollination both of training and of tactics. So not good, right? And yet, the Democrats in Washington are being advised by those smart people to not call for the abolition of this agency, ICE, which has only existed since after the 9/11 attacks. So it's only existed since 2001. It's not in the Constitution. I'm holding here, let me actually read you this reporting from the Bulwark. Democrats risk falling into a trap of Donald Trump's making if they revive calls for the abolition of ICE, warns an upstart Democratic think tank in a new memo that reads in part as an emotional plea to others in the party. And this is the Bulwark's reporting. The memo put together by Searchlight Institute and released on Wednesday draws a direct comparison between the anger felt by voters following last week's shooting of Renee Nicole Good by an ICE agent in Minneapolis and the killing of George Floyd by police officer Derek Chauvin in the same city in 2020. The calls to defund the police in the wake of that tragedy, the group writes, may have felt righteous in the moment, but if it constituted bad policy when adopted literally and handed a massive cudgel to Republicans electorally. The same, writes Blas Nunez Nito, a senior policy fellow at Searchlight, is true of Abolish ICE Now. Abolish ICE is not some proxy for more humane immigration enforcement or to change ICE's culture to adhere to due process or to impose accountability on rogue officers. It's advocating for an extreme, the memo reads, unless you truly believe that the United States should not have an agency that enforces immigration and customs laws within our borders, and you want to increase illegal immigration, you should not say you want to abolish ICE. Instead, the memo encourages Democrats to adopt an alternative approach toward ICE, one it calls reform and retrain. The Searchlight memo is the latest in a growing and increasingly frenzied effort by Democratic allied groups to shape the party's response to Good's shooting. It comes as the party's base has grown more outraged over ICE's brutal tactics and as lawmakers on Capitol Hill have hotly debated how best to rein in ICE. So far, the approach from the party has been uneven. Some progressive Democrats have called for the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Others have attempted to revive the Abolish ICE movement, arguing that the agency has become so lawless and rogue that the only reasonable option is to disband it once back in power. They and like-minded operatives have been buoyed by recent polling data showing support for ICE plummeting, including a YouGov flash poll showing net positive support for abolishing the agency. So that is where Democrats stand in this moment. Joining me now is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, who has represented Washington's.
So I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on that. The Democrats are being advised strategically to avoid calling for the abolition of ICE.
I have one. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I have a comment. I have a comment. So this is where the Democrats get into trouble when it comes to messaging. It was never about defunding the police. It was about demilitarizing the police. And that is the same thing applies here. It's about demilitarizing the ICE. And, you know, we may have to abolish it to start over again, right? But I think that's where these sound bites get picked up. Oh, Democrats want to defund the police. Nobody said that. Nobody said the Democrats wanted to defund the police. they were talking about the militarization
They won't be able to say that.
of
They're
the
going to say
police.
reform.
Yeah. So messaging is going to be critical here. I do agree with that. But at this point, you know, we had how many Democrats that voted to continue to fund what this ICE now is doing? That's a problem.
And
without
this
reform. Yeah.
This is again where education comes into play, because we had the INS. We had a government agency
I was just
that
thinking
was efficient in dealing with immigration. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, we don't need ICE. It's unnecessary. We had an agency that dealt with our immigration policies.
So what happened
to
them?
They were more of a service to the immigrant. You know, they helped them on the pathway to citizenship. ICE is more, it's like a regulatory agency. It's not trying to help anyone. We don't need it.
So again, what happened to Immigration and Naturalization Services? What happened to them?
Sucked into DHS and ICE.
Right.
Right. And I used to talk to INS all the time because I help nonprofits for good reasons, right? To help their immigrants that were working for them. And I was not aware. So INS doesn't exist.
Yeah, I used to work for them, and I didn't know they no longer exist, but it was a long time ago.
The other issue with ICE is people don't realize either that coming over the border is not a criminal offense; it's a civil offense.
Yeah, it's not a felony. It
should be completely out of any kind of criminal. You know what they're claiming is criminal. That they're all criminals because they're coming over. It's not a criminal offense. It's a civil offense.
And what, like they said, I listened to something today, and I know, I don't mean to repeat myself, but they say, white men have killed more people than anybody, and is responsible for a lot of different bad situations. So I don't understand why they keep trying to put it off, that it's somebody else doing the killing, and it's not them themselves trying to keep America white, trying to keep the money. Again, this country didn't belong to them anyway. They came over here and stole it to begin with, and they trying to use the same ways to take it again, to take it hostage. I would say, let's say, go back to Immigration Naturalization Service, and not necessarily say get rid of ICE, but what happened to Immigration Naturalization? And you weren't hearing all these terrible stories.
Correct.
But we didn't have cell phones then either. So,
well, the thing is like the Department of Homeland Security was created after 9/11, and there was a campaign.
That's correct. I agree.
To scare us and have us be fearful of people who were Muslim and from the Arab world. And out of that grew ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. And it's just become this militaristic, evil organization that just terrorizes people. Like terror bred terror.
And the thing about it, you see these big bellies on these white men too, that they drinking Canadian beer, they drinking Mexican rum and tequila, and they go on to these restaurants, and then okay, we want to deport all of them. No, you don't. No, you don't. In the past couple of years, I've seen some of the fattest men in my life. I said, "Oh my goodness!"
oh, Andrea, you're awesome.
I can't. You haven't seen them. See, I travel a lot. I'm at the airport, and the ones that act the most racist look like they 12 months pregnant. I'm sorry. I would just had to get that out, I guess.
I know. We had this conversation before. It's like Andrea is observing them in their habitat.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, she is. Yeah, they want the Mexican beans and rice. They love carne asada. They love carne asada. The steak. We love the steak. And look at and give me some more guacamole. I said, look at you.
I mean, look, I don't want to.
And their Cuervo tequila. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Love that tequila.
Yeah.
I don't want to fat shame people, but I will say that ICE had to loosen their qualifications because they were having a hard time recruiting people, and so they had to loosen the age regulations. They had to loosen the physical fitness regulations, and now we have people who would not ordinarily qualify for such a role.
Well, the lady said she wouldn't apply it, and she got home and didn't even follow all the steps and failed the drug screen. She said, I failed the drug screen. I ain't do nothing right.
No
and
background check.
And I had the job.
Yeah, no background checks.
Well, thank you for that laugh. I really needed that.
I have to. Because I go out there shooting people, I get in trouble. I don't know how to shut up. Y'all talking about get somebody out of jail. That's me.
Well, if it's in California, I've got a really good friend who's a criminal defense attorney. He'll get you out in a heartbeat. So you're covered here.
All my stories.
Good to know, Roseanne. Thanks.
I got your 6. Okay, don't worry.
I did want to show 2 different examples of Democrats' response, their approach to ICE. So we could show the Rashida Tlaib clip.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
To continue to give more funding to ICE and CBP because it was clear to me that they were unaccountable and lawless. And we tried not just pushing for retraining, but we wanted to have not have daily quotas for how many people could be rounded up, for example. Now we're in a situation where I was just in Minneapolis. I was holding one of my hearings that I've been doing called Kidnapped and Disappeared. This was the 6th one I hosted with Representative Omar in Minneapolis. We had 28 members of Congress, Democratic members of Congress, come from 18 states. That's the most Democrats that have really engaged in this issue ever. And what I said over and over again is we cannot have these ICE and CBP agents just going out and randomly arresting anyone they want, right? Shackling US citizens, putting them into detention facilities, and then releasing them without any charges, but also without any accountability. We have these officers who are shooting people, putting tear gas into, we heard a lot of testimony about this, into cars. And so to me, this is an agency that just got $170 billion in the big bad betrayal bill that Republicans passed without any Democratic support, I will add. But that agency has become a complete force for violating constitutional rights of US citizens and non-citizens alike. And so the task right now, when we don't have the gavels, is to make sure we don't give another penny of funding to this unaccountable agency. But the task when we get the gavels back, and hopefully I'm chair of the immigration subcommittee, is to completely disband these the DHS as an agency. And actually, you know, it's not a question of a couple of bad apples, Joy. I mean, these folks that are being hired, I'm convinced, are people, perhaps insurrectionists who have been pardoned by Donald Trump. There's no screening, there's no training. And so we have to understand that that's who populates these agencies. It's not just a question of right sizing, it's really a question of recreating agencies that are actually accountable and do the job and do not have all this money to just go out and violate constitutional rights. So whatever you want to call that, I never used abolish ICE because for a whole bunch of reasons, because I think people then try to use that to say you don't want any enforcement at all. And my bill that, people say was an abolish ICE bill was really about taking the enforcement, putting it somewhere else and right-sizing it, in not in a small sense, but in a big sense. And so whatever they want to call it, we just can't have this unaccountable agency that violates people's rights, period.
And the thing is that people act as if ICE is somehow part of the founding doctrine of the country.
Yeah.
Apologies to Representative Jayapal. I called her Rashida Tlaib. I'm confusing members of the squad. I am not confusing two brown women. It was just because I'm thinking the squad. So that was Representative Jayapal. And then I wanted to show a clip of Zoran Mamdani on The View, also talking about ICE, just to compare the two different responses. But while August gets that queued up, what do y'all think of what Pramila Jayapal had to say?
Again, I think her language is too soft.
Myself.
Yeah, I was
We
like,
cannot continue to fund an agency that's out of freaking control.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that has no accountability, that is, I'm going to say, stocked with thugs. I mean, that's basically who they are. All these people that were pardoned by Trump. And I don't know how many are in there. I can't say that for sure, but we know that there are many.
You know, you gotta say what you mean and mean what you say. Say with your whole chest.
Yeah.
ICE. I want to know where you come down on abolishing ICE and if you believe that ICE has any legitimate law enforcement role.
You know, I am in support of abolishing ICE, and I'll tell you why. Because what we see is an entity that has no interest in fulfilling its stated reason to exist. We're seeing a government agency that is supposed to be enforcing some kind of immigration law, but instead what it's doing is terrorizing people, no matter their immigration status, no matter the facts of the law, no matter the facts of the case. And I'm tired of waking up every day and seeing a new image of someone being dragged out of a car, dragged out of their home, dragged out of their life. What we need to see is humanity. And there is a way to care about immigration in this city and in this country with a sense of humanity. What we're seeing from ICE is not it, and we have not seen that from them in a long, long time.
Mr. Mayor, in light of recent events, there have been renewed calls from prominent Democrats to abolish ICE.
Thank you. So
now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What I didn't like is when I saw that lady saying she was going to the doctor. She said, "I got a doctor appointment," and they dragged her out the car, and then they cut her seatbelt. I'm like, but who gonna fix that? They not gonna pay to fix her seatbelt, and I don't know if she ever made it to the doctor. I mean, and then they just left her. He just drove her car off somewhere. I said, now how's she gonna know where her car is?
Yeah,
and they're taking cell phones now too. Along with everything else.
Well, and the federal government has given them authority to enter homes without a warrant. They're giving them full, So completely violating our rights.
And on Don's show, he showed where if you take a picture of ICE, they can put you on the list as a terrorist. But you take a picture of me, but I can't take a picture of you.
Yeah, and so
I
think it's clear that ICE needs to be abolished, and I think that our leaders should just say that. I'm tired of Democrats thinking about what are Republicans going to say to booby trap us. Get better messaging.
I know that's what they say.
Better messaging. I don't understand the problem. Why is it so hard? Don't let Republicans control the message. Get better messaging.
Yes. Thank you, Keisha.
Abolish ICE.
We need term limits on the
have
Supreme
open borders
Court.
and a free flood of people coming in the country.
Well, they need to continue the conversation. We need to abolish ICE, but we need to go back to an immigration and naturalization service that we once had. That is, humanitarian run. That is not run by a bunch of rogue operators.
I believe we need to get rid of the Supreme Court, all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's another show too.
Okay. Shut up, Andrea.
That's another show too. Sorry, Keisha, go ahead.
No, and your point is exactly where I'm going with this. We have two different, like why do I keep calling her Rashida Tlaib? Pramila Jayapal is part of the squad, and they're supposed to be the more progressive members of the Democratic Party in Congress. But even just comparing how she is couching it to how Zohran Mamdani is couching it, I'm more of the Zohran Mamdani camp. Just say it plain, say it like it is. Like, talk to us like real people. We know what the deal is. Stop acting like politicians. Stop listening to these strategists who are just they're helping lose.
Yeah.
So I would like to see, and maybe the Zohran Mamdani approach does not work in every city in the country. Maybe we have to craft a different approach for different constituencies. But I would just like to see more human talk for people who are running for office, from people who are in office, and stop kowtowing to what the Republicans might say in response and what the strategists are telling us, because they're helping us lose.
Yeah, and why do Seven decide it's okay to still fund?
I don't get that at all.
I really don't get that.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. We just want to ask you to like and subscribe. Thank you out there. I just want to bring to it that what Jazzy just mentioned, IDK, I don't know. So I hear you, Jazzy. I hear you. I just wanted to bring that up. Why Dems always act nervous to say what is actually on their mind. We are way past being cordial.
Because of what Keisha said about the strategists, they're listening to the wrong people. I agree. We're past the point of politics at this point. We're in a dogfight for our democracy. So this is not business as usual.
No.
And that's the difference.
So when is the military going to split and start standing up for all of us regular people and what is happening and what they are doing to us, to everybody now, children, 5-year-olds, black, brown, everybody, throwing out military grade, it's a long name, tear gas stuff that turns green, that was banned by the military because it is so highly carcinogenic. When are we going to get help to go start standing up to these people? Minnesota today went on a general strike. Did you see how many businesses were closed? Fabulous. We should be doing that all across the country.
Nationwide.
Nationwide, not just one state or city. Everybody should. But we need help right now because we cannot do this on our own. And I'm tired of seeing this every single day, how they are just taking advantage of us and calling us domestic terrorists. I'm not a domestic terrorist. I love my country. I want to stay, but we need help. And who's going to come and help us?
It's enough of us to help us. So
We the people.
If we gotta do it, we gotta do it. That's what the slaves did. The slaves had to fight for themselves. We had to come up with signals and ways to wear your hat where they gave off signals, and we can't just sit here and let this keep happening. You gotta vote. You really gotta get rid of Congress and get rid of the Supreme Court first of all. And everybody's scared of Trump. I don't know why everybody's scared of one person. The whole world is scared of one person. They wasn't that scared of Jesus.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up my segment, I just want to say that I think as we look toward the future of the country that we want to have, the country of the future, we need leaders who can meet the moment. And I think that the leaders that we currently have are, a lot of them are not meeting the moment. And I would like to see us do better and lean more toward the Mamdani side and less toward the state, Cory Booker, Hakeem Jeffries politic, listen to the strategist method.
Ass kissers, Keisha.
I can't listen to them anymore at all. Thank you, Keisha. That was a powerful segment.
Thank you, Keisha.
And
Yep, that was good.
we need to keep all this in mind. In the meantime, we're hearing all these, big headlines, and behind the scenes, what's happening to the everyday American people is their insurance premiums are doubling, tripling, and quadrupling. The economy is continuing to decline, and so I want to turn it over to Andrea to talk a little bit about how that's impacting some people.
Well, I was looking at this and I think about food a lot. I like to eat. And I think everybody should listen to this about food insecurities among lower income people, So thank you.
About convenience. Quick meals for busy families. The American dream of efficiency and affordability. But what if I told you that behind those golden arches and secret recipes was something much darker? What if fast food wasn't just feeding America, it was systematically destroying Black America, one neighborhood at a time? Picture this. It's 1968. Dr. King has just been murdered. Over 100 cities are burning. When the smoke clears, something strange happens in Black neighborhoods across America. The grocery stores don't come back. The banks don't return. The insurance companies refuse to cover new businesses. But somehow, mysteriously, the fast food chains start moving in. Not immediately. They're smarter than that. They wait just long enough for people to get desperate. Then they arrive like saviors, offering cheap food and franchise opportunities to communities that had been abandoned by everyone else. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't market forces. This was a calculated takeover that would span decades and destroy generations. While white suburbs got fresh supermarkets and family restaurants, Black neighborhoods got drive-thrus and dollar menus. They called it urban development. They called it economic opportunity. But what it really was the creation of a new kind of segregation, one that didn't care where you sat, but controlled what you ate, how long you lived, and whose pockets your money filled. By the end of this video, you'll understand how fast food corporations helped build a system of economic control that makes the old Jim Crow look simple by comparison. Let me take you back to April 4th, 1968. Martin Luther King Jr. is dead, and America is on fire. Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., over 100 cities explode in rage and grief. When the National Guard finally leaves and the curfews are lifted, entire business districts in Black neighborhoods have been reduced to ash and rubble. But here's what they don't teach you in history class. Most of those businesses never came back. The insurance companies showed up with their clipboards and their calculations, took one look at the damage, and made a decision that would reshape Black America forever. They refused to pay out claims. They canceled policies. They redlined entire neighborhoods, declaring them too risky for coverage. Without insurance, banks wouldn't loan money for rebuilding. Without loans, there could be no new grocery stores, no pharmacies, no restaurants. The very businesses that had anchored these communities for generations were effectively banned from returning. Sarah Jackson owned a grocery store on 12th Street in Detroit before the uprising. 3 generations of her family had shopped there, worked there, built their lives around that corner store. After the fires, she applied for insurance to rebuild. The company told her the neighborhood was now classified as high risk. The premium would cost more than her entire annual revenue. Sarah Jackson never reopened her store. Neither did the Johnson family's restaurant down the street. Neither did the Williams Brothers pharmacy on the corner. Multiply Sarah's story by thousands, and you begin to understand what really happened in the aftermath of 1968. This wasn't just property damage. This was economic amputation. Entire food systems that had sustained Black communities were surgically removed, leaving behind empty lots and hungry people. And into this manufactured void, the fast food chains began to circle like vultures. But that's just the beginning of how they weaponized Black hunger for profit. If you want more hidden stories like this, Subscribe to Black Stories Untold. Now, back to how...
You want to continue?
You do want to continue, but I
corporate
know
America
we have
turned
time
tragedy into
restraints.
opportunity.
Yeah,
The
not for
first
the whole
McDonald's in a
thing.
black neighborhood wasn't built in 1968. That would
So
have been
if
too
you want to
obvious,
watch part
too
two
cruel even for them.
Wednesday.
No, they waited. They studied. They let the desperation marinate for a few years, while white families fled to the suburbs, taking their grocery stores and sit-down restaurants with them. By 1972, when the first golden arches went up in devastated Detroit, it looked like salvation. Herman Petty was one of the first black McDonald's franchise owners in the country. In 1972, McDonald's corporate approached him with what seemed like the opportunity of a lifetime. They would help him open a restaurant in his own community. They would provide training, marketing support, and the backing of America's fastest growing restaurant chain. What they didn't tell Herman was that he was part of an experiment, a test to see if black franchise owners could be used to extract wealth from black communities more efficiently than white owners ever could. The numbers tell the story. Herman's McDonald's in Detroit generated over $2 million in revenue in its first 5 years. Sounds impressive, right? Here's what's not impressive. Herman's take-home profit averaged about $40,000 a year. Meanwhile, McDonald's corporate collected franchise fees, rent on the property they owned, forced purchases of equipment and supplies, and advertising fees. For every dollar that walked through Herman's door, about 85 cents walked right back out to corporate headquarters in white suburban Chicago. But even that wasn't the most insidious part. See, McDonald's had done their homework. They knew that black communities had higher rates of diabetes and heart disease even before fast food arrived. They knew that poverty meant people were looking for cheap calories, not healthy options. They knew that in neighborhoods without full-service grocery stores, fast food would become not just convenient, but necessary. They weren't just opening restaurants, they were creating dependency. The marketing strategy was surgical in its precision. McDonald's began pouring advertising dollars into black radio stations, black magazines, and black community events. They sponsored basketball tournaments in neighborhoods that had no grocery stores, but 3 fast food restaurants within a 2-block radius. They hired black advertising executives who understood exactly how to make processed food feel like community, how to make corporate profits feel like black pride. By 1980, something unprecedented was happening in urban America. For the first time in human history, there were neighborhoods where it was easier to buy a Big Mac than an apple, where children could walk to 5 different fast food restaurants, but couldn't find a single place to buy fresh vegetables. This wasn't happening by accident, and it wasn't happening in white neighborhoods. But what they did next would make this look like child's play. The 1980s was when fast food corporations stopped pretending they cared about nutrition and went full predator. They had spent a decade testing their strategies, and now they knew exactly what worked. The crack epidemic was devastating black communities, unemployment was skyrocketing, and Reagan was cutting food assistance programs. Families that were already struggling now faced even deeper poverty, and the fast food industry saw opportunity. KFC launched a marketing campaign specifically targeting what they called urban consumers. Internal documents from the era, obtained through later lawsuits, show they studied shopping patterns, family structures, and even welfare payment schedules to maximize their marketing impact. They learned that many families received government assistance on the 1st and 15th of each month, so they timed their promotions accordingly. They weren't just selling food, they were designing a system to capture as much government assistance money as possible. Burger King took a different approach. They focused on children. Their marketing research showed that brand loyalty formed as early as age 3, and that children in single-parent households had more influence over family food decisions. So they flooded black neighborhoods with playgrounds, birthday party packages, and toys designed to create emotional connections between toddlers and burgers. They were literally programming the next generation to crave processed food. But McDonald's was the most ruthless of all. They pioneered what marketing experts now call cultural embedding. They didn't just advertise to black communities, they made themselves seem essential to black culture. They sponsored church events, community festivals, and school fundraisers. They hired black celebrities not just for commercials, but to become public advocates for the brand. When a McDonald's opened in your neighborhood, they made it feel like a black business, even though every important decision was made by white executives in suburban boardrooms. The results were exactly what they had planned. By 1990, the average black family was spending nearly twice as much of their food budget on fast food as white families. Children in black neighborhoods consumed fast food an average of 3 times per week, compared to once per week for white children. And the health consequences were starting to show. Obesity rates in black communities began climbing faster than anywhere else in America. Type 2 diabetes, once rare in children, started appearing in black kids as young as 10 years old. Keep watching, because what comes next will blow your mind.
With that said, we will come back on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time to find out what really is in the food.
Thank you all.
I love it. It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I love that.
Yay.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, it was already predestined, another way to get us. And so many of us have died from all of those diseases. But
that's why Project 2025 targets healthcare, because sick people have less power to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Knew a lot about the redlining and everything. Think about the McDonald's and the fast food aspect of that. And it was a little disheartening that
there's no grocery. Where I grew up, I went back to visit and took my children. There are no grocery stores.
Or you have to travel far to
You
get
have to travel far.
Right.
You have to go at least 25 to 50 miles for a grocery store.
Yeah. It just highlights how much the system is rigged in many aspects. So yeah, let's come back to that on Wednesday. That's powerful. We'll have to mark that. And we'll put the link in the description as well. Any comments on that?
Well, I'm angry because it's just disgusting. As Marley mentioned, or I think it was Marley who said, or it was Alexis who said, the effort they put in to target us. Like people were paid. That was their job, to figure out how to get Black people to eat more food that was bad for them.
And the thing, management thought they had enough money to live on.
And it's one of those things where, like, you know, you have those uncles who will be like, they flood our neighborhoods with McDonald's so that we'd be unhealthy and not do well. And you think, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're just, you're insane. But it's like, no, your crazy uncle is actually right. He's not paranoid. He's actually right. But it all boils down to one of the ills of our country, which is capitalism. It all comes back to capitalism, that evil capitalism.
Sorry, Jackie just laid an egg. I am so sorry.
She did? Yay! God, she's right on time. She is right on time, Kim, because it was a year ago yesterday that she laid her first one. Oh my God, that's awesome.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm glad that it was something good and not something bad, because I was scared.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Wow, that's
When I saw that, I said that
Our
was
audience.
And then the liquor stores. You're right, Monique, husband.
We're our audience.
So, for those of you that don't know, the entire last year I watched 2 bald eagles appear in our local mountains in Big Bear, Jackie and Shadow. They laid their eggs. We watched them hatch. We watched the eaglets grow and fledge. And it was such a beautiful experience and a great distraction, everybody, from the horrors of what's going on. Connect with nature. And so Jackie just laid her first egg of the season. I'm like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. So I'll put the link to them in the description as well.
Yeah, because
and
they
you guys
thought it
watch.
was a baby. They thought it was a real baby. It's a bird. It's a bird.
It's a bald eagle, but it's so because that's our nation's bird, right? That's our.
And these two
bird. Last I heard it was.
And these two birds are amazing to watch. They are so kind to each other, and they look out for each other, and they co-parent. I mean, I'm with Kim. I watched them all last year when they had 3 little ones, and then they did lose one in a storm. But holy gosh, it was awesome. Oh my gosh.
So they remind us of how we should be.
Yeah, they do, Andrea. You're right.
Yeah. But nature is so important for us to connect back to nature. And that's one way I do it. I have them up on one screen all day watching. It's beautiful. Anyway, sorry about that, but it was so exciting. We still have to do August on the Move. So
tonight,
August,
because of McDonald's, August on the Move is going to move to Wednesday. Please come back and see us on Wednesday for August on the Move. We're over time. Time now is 8:40 Eastern Standard Time.
so everybody, thank you for joining us again. You know we appreciate you so much. We are just a small little group with a small following, but we love our country and we try to bring you the truth every chance that we get. So we appreciate the conversation. Everybody, great job tonight on your segments. Really important information, and we will continue the conversation on Wednesday. So please join us. Any last words, anybody, before we go?
Just have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Find your joy wherever you can.
Yep.
And if you're in the south or the east and you're going to be affected by that storm system, get your groceries early so that delivery people don't have to be out in the horrible weather. Stock up on what you need to. Obviously, don't hoard. Not that I think that our audience would be hoarders. And stay safe and warm.
Yes, stay safe and warm, you guys. Yeah.
One
We just want to
person
give
can
a
make
shout
a
out.
difference.
We just want to give a shout out to Anitra. She's out there. Anitra, be safe when you're delivering Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh gosh, yes,
Be careful.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. August, can you end our stream?
Yes, I can. You guys have a good evening, and we'll
I
see you
miss
back.
August on the
Don't
Move.
forget Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and we're always here on Friday. Like and subscribe, and have a good evening.
Triple
Stay
A's
warm.
every other Tuesday.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Love you all. Have a good weekend, okay?
We the people unite.